Well, hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. You are in the middle of your week, the middle of the day, and I hope it's been a really good week for you. My name is Colleen Magnus, and I'm going to create with you today. So I'm a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator on the East Coast in Chesapeake, Virginia. I come to you live every Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, so you guys can take a break and watch me create. So I hope you had a blessed Thanksgiving. We really did. It was filled with, of course, the grandkids, lots of food. So we finally had the neighbors over on Sunday for the rest of the leftovers, and everything except the blueberry pie is done. And I think I could probably kill that tonight. So every night is dessert. I figure it's the holidays, let them start. January comes when we all make our little commitments to lose the weight, and if we do, we do, and if we don't, at least we had a good time eating those desserts. So I'm going to boot up here for a minute, and I will see when I turn the camera down who is live. Don't forget that right now the mini catalog, the September through December mini catalog right here is on sale. So many items are on sale, some items are sold out, but I did do a video about a week ago that shows you what is carrying over, what is on sale. I can send you a PDF, but it's hard to read. So I just like opening up the catalog, marking everything up so we can just take a walk through together. So we are going to create shortly here because I am taking a field trip with my mom and my neighbor Debbie. And we're going to Costco. So I was trying to get some things the other day and they were out. Hopefully they are in. And if not, I'm sure it still won't be a problem to find something to buy. So let me turn us around here. And we're going to get started. Alrighty. And then I'll see who's joining me. Again, I hope you all are in the middle of a beautiful week. Let me push this back a little bit. There we go. There. Alrighty. So I have Miss Bren. Hey, Bren and Renee. Kathy's in the house. Hello, Kathy. I know everybody's saying hello to everybody. Isn't it just great that we can make friends this way? Very good. Oh, and I have Ann from Tennessee. Welcome, Ann. And Miss Judith is here from South Carolina. And hello, Joanne. So, Joanne, I have to give you a shout out. Your Christmas card was the first one I received. I just received it the other day, and I have to say, you are on the ball. My cards, it's usually like the gift at Christmas. Hopefully you get it on the 23rd. But would probably do better making New Year's cards. So anyways, good job, Joanne. I'm very proud of you. Hello, Joan and Lynn. All right, we are going to get started here. Push this up. Okay, so this card, I've been holding on to this card for a while because it just, oh my gosh, it just blew me away when I saw it. Bonnie Johnson, a dear friend, gave me this card when we were actually at backstage. And that was a couple months ago, and I just said, I have to show it, especially which is great, everything is still available. The paper is still available right now, along with the Joy of Noel Bundle, and I'm using a couple other stamp sets too. So, let's see, Deborah from Minnesota, hello. Y'all know it's chilly here in Virginia. I'm not even going to call it whining because I do like the cold. It's in the 40s. But when I think of all of you up north, some of you got almost 20 inches of snow the other day. That would just cripple Virginia. Let me just say that. But anyways, I did with the cold. I love it. Had me a crock pot of potato soup, some homemade bread. Just gives me a good reason to cook some comfort food. So Joanne's tradition is to write out cards on Thanksgiving and mail the day after. Ooh, I like that. And you know what? That makes perfect sense, Joanne, because then you're the one who gets to really enjoy your holidays. So Renee got about 6 inches of snow. Well, I want y'all snow, but not until late December, January, or February. Then you can bring it on. Okay, so this card here, again, Bonnie gave me this card, and I absolutely loved it. So we are going to do heat embossing. I'm going to give you some tips on that. I'm going to give you some tips on saving this brushed gold designer paper. I don't know if you can see it. It's only like a 1/16 of an inch on each side, but boy, does it make a difference. So I'm going to show you how to save on that too. All right, so what we are using, again, this is on page 29. A lot of these items are not available. The loose holly gems are gone, along with the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper. Thankfully, this beautiful black and very vanilla ribbon is carrying over. And really thankfully, because this is what I'm using, the joyful 12 by 12 specialty designer paper is still available. But just remember, at this point, anything goes. It may be here now and it might not be here an hour from now, but that is there. It's just that these items are not carrying over, sadly. So the bundle that I'm using is on page 30. This is a Joy of Noel, and it coordinates with the Christmas Classics bundle on page 31. So both of these are being retired, but with the Christmas Classics, the dies are marked down to $33.30. But when you do the math, the bundle is still a better deal because you're gonna save a little bit more money by getting 10% off by getting the dies and the stamps set together. But gorgeous products, to say the least. Okay, so let me show you what we're gonna be needing today to create this card. You need a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 cherry cobbler, and I scored that at 4 1/4. That's my card base. Then you're going to use a piece of 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch brushed gold specialty paper. Absolutely gorgeous paper. You're going to need 2 pieces of the 4 by 5 1/4 inch very vanilla. One for the front, one for the outside. And then a scrap of vanilla. And then this little guy, I saw with the paper, I'll show you the paper in a minute, that I used with my trusty always go-to dies, which is the Stylish Shapes. I don't even try to get them in there to where they stick anymore. I just put them in there because they're beautiful shapes and they're stitched and they cut. And that's what I used for the ornament. Let me put that aside. So for the designer paper, let me give you a better view up close. Again, this is called Joyful, and it's a specialty paper because it's a gold foil. So here you have cherry cobbler with the gold, very rich looking. Now it's not a double-sided paper because it is a specialty paper. And then you have the beautiful plaid with your gold here. And this is cherry cobbler and shaded spruce. Then you have a really neat rustic looking trees. What do I want to call that? Tree pattern, close enough. And then love, love, love the music notes. Hey Cindy, glad you popped on. And Patty is here. Patty said it's cold in Boston, but no snow. Well, that's probably pretty cool too. Diane, yes, the card is beautiful. I fell in love with it when she gave it to me. And hey, Patty and Gwen. Okay, so going forward, those were the parts. So what I'm going to do first is I'll take that cherry cobbler from my card base. It's already scored, so it gets folded in half really easy. Now let me just set that there. For the brushed gold specialty paper, it's such a small edge because I'm going to layer this on there. And then, of course, I'm going to layer, once we get this stamped and embossed, on top. So you only see a little bit. So I'm really, to me, you know, I'm thrifty. I'm really feeling like I'm wasting a lot of that paper that I can use on something else. So I'm going to show you a little trick. When you're doing this, you need to cut the center out so that wood grain. Thank you, Kathy. You gave me the word I needed. Wood grain. Tree grain. Oh, well. Thanks, Kathy. But anyways, I am going to just cut the center out. And I don't have to be really technical. I was going to do like a 1/2 inch edge. And then I thought, well, that might be a little close. But basically, I'm just going to do roughly a 3/4 inch edge around. And then use this centerpiece for something else. Because it's too beautiful just to cover up. So I'm going to put it at like the 3/4 mark on this side. And again, it doesn't have to be too technical. Put my scoring blade over there. But I'm going to go to about 3/4. Let's just go to about 4 1/2. And I'm going to turn it and put this on 3/4. And I'm going from this 3/4 mark to about 3 1/2. Again, I don't have to be too technical. I just want to get some of this paper out to use on something else. All right, so 3/4. I think I said 4.5. And then when I put this on 3/4, I'm coming down here to this 3/4, and I'm coming up 3/4, which is about 3.5. Okay. And when I do that, I now have like a picture frame. If it didn't go all the way through, just take your little bit right here. And as I said, that may be a little bit thicker, but this way I have a good enough piece to put down. And then I still have this, which I'm going to use on something else. So now I will put it on my frame here. And since I'm going to want to get those edges just right, I will use some liquid glue. Okay. And I'll put this on the front of my card. And again, my reasoning for using the liquid glue is that when you have a smaller edge, I can move it around. I love our Stamp and Seal. It's really strong, but where you put it down, it's a tape. It's going to hold. Where with this liquid Tombow glue, it's tacky, it dries quick, but I still have just a few seconds of movement. So that's how you save on your brushed gold designer series paper. Now for the front, when you look at the front, this is actually embossed with the time-worn type embossing folder. So you don't want to emboss that first. You want to do your stamping first, because once you emboss, you have texture, and then your stamp might not get on there as clear as you want it to be. So I'm going to stamp first. Now this came from one of my favorite bundles. This is called Night Divine, and I'm going to use the words joy and peace. I tried a few other ones because I was going to try to switch it up, but it was just elegant. It did not overpower my small little ornament. I did not want that to happen. So I am going to emboss first, and I am stamping first, and this is Early Espresso. So let me see if I got to pull it towards me y'all so I could see it. And actually what I should have done, and I know better, is I should have put this on a bigger block. Reason being is because it's hard when the edges are right here and you can't see. If I went ahead and put this on, say a D block, I would see the up and down. But that's not bad. But I'm going to try again because I always like to. And let's see. Yeah, there you go. I like that one better. That's what I love about stamping. You get 2 chances right from the start. And if you still don't like the way it is and you really have to do it over, it's only paper. So you haven't lost much. So now that I have the Joy and Peace on here, I'm going to take the time-worn type. This is a great, I would call it like a generic folder because it's going to add texture, but it's delicate, small texture. And it just makes something look a little more antique-y, which I like. So let me take my machine and put my sides down. Now with this, I am going to use just the base plate that I have right here, the number 1. And then I am going to use the number 4 3D embossing folder plate. Now this you do have to purchase separate, but it's really inexpensive, but that's what works with the 3D embossing folders. Now the really cool thing about the folder is that, especially when you have something that really needs to be straight, these have some little words in there. We have a line here. And that's what I will line my piece up with. So see, I've got it right on the line. It's going to be straight. I always put it in with the folded part first, because if you do the open part, it could actually kind of start pushing on this binding here, and you don't want that to break. I'll put my plate on it and just make sure everything is straight going through. There we go. Keep that handy because I'll be using that again. And then here I have my Joy of Peace, Joy and Peace, but yet the words are not broken up because I stamped first and then I embossed. So for this now, I can put on here, and you never know that inside piece is out. And don't panic. Keep in mind I stamped both sides. I'm not putting it on the front. Just saying, that could happen. You never know. Stranger things have been known to happen, I'm sure. So I'll put this on here again with the liquid paper so I can slide it around until I get it where I like it. I also like to turn it over and rub because we all know you're not stamping until you're wearing it. And if you're going to wear it, this is where you're going to wear it, is on your hands. Okay, so I have this here. So we are moving along. So with this piece here, I am actually going to emboss it in gold because she did, and I really liked it. So when you're embossing, I'll put that on the side there. Got my scrap vanilla. And what I'm going to use when I emboss is, this is a photopolymer. So I can just take my rubber mat here. You also have, I've got my embossing buddy, Versamark, which is a wonderful type of ink. Versamark is like a watermark. So if I stamped Versamark on any kind of colored cardstock, it's going to make a darker image. And I love that because I'm a texture person. And if you try to stamp a color on a background, it can get a little loud. And there's a fine line between pretty and loud, y'all, so you got to be careful. So with this, if I was to just stamp it on colored cardstock, I just have that image in the same color, just a little darker. It's perfect. It is also great for heat embossing because it's sticky. So it's wonderful for that. We are actually going to use, it's kind of vintage, it's old, but it's still good. It's a Stampin' Up! Gold embossing powder. But I just want you to know, you can stamp and emboss any color you want because Versamark is clear. So say, for example, I wanted to emboss this in green and I don't have green embossing powder. What you would do is you would stamp in your Versamark first, then you're going to stamp, say, in Shaded Spruce green ink, and now it's sticky and it has color. So then when I stamp on my paper, I throw clear embossing powder on it, and since it's clear, any color you use is going to come through. So that is another way to do different colors, but as I said, I'm going to do the gold, and when I do that, especially when I'm doing gold, I am going to use my, we called it a pounce pad when we were drafting. It's probably still called that, but we call it an embossing buddy in the stamping world. So I'm just going to brush it on there, and that's because sometimes you get static on your paper. And when you stamp your image, it will, like little pieces will go elsewhere. And it's okay if you brush them off. It's not permanent till you heat it. But once you heat it, you can get all these little sprinkles on there, and that's not as pretty as if it was just your image. So that's why I use an embossing buddy. And, oh, and let me do this before I forget. I never read tags on things. I don't know if y'all do. In fact, I had, the last 2 days, I've just had so much fun. I've cut every tag off of every washcloth and towel that I have because every time you fold them, it's hanging out. Drives me crazy. So, and half of them are so worn out, it's just a piece of material hanging there anyways. So I cut them off, but this was on my embossing gun. And I said, let me read that. It said, after switching off, stand the heat gun up to accelerate cooling in order to prolong the heat gun life. I mean, I did it. And what they're talking about is after I heat, you know, this is a lot hotter than a blow dryer. Do not use this on your hair. Trust me. But anyways, it's very hot because it has to heat the powder. But then they want you to stand it up on these little, the stand, because it'll cool it quicker. It won't burn a table or anything. And apparently it prolongs the life of the heat gun. Who knew? I didn't know, but we all know now. So anyways, I've used the embossing buddy. I'm going to stamp with my Versamark. Right on here. Look how pretty and clean that is. It's brand new. Very few Versamarks look like that, but they still work great. So I'm just gonna put this on here. And then I'm gonna sprinkle my gold powder on here. And I like this little tray. Stampin' Up! Sold these years ago. They have a much larger tray now, which also works, but they used to sell 2 together. So if you've been stamping a while, you probably have one. But look how great that is, that you really don't have any other little pieces of embossing powder on there. Now, if you did, just take a small little paintbrush or something and brush it off, because again, nothing is permanent until you heat it. At that point, it's embossed. And keep in mind, you can over emboss. So if you over emboss, what's going to happen is it'll be all nice and shiny and gold, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's great. Well, then as you keep heating, it starts to dull and it goes flat, because basically you heated the powder right off of that. So you don't want to over emboss. I like to take a piece of cardboard with some tin foil. It kind of helps reflect that heat back up. And then when I do mine, I let my gun run for just a couple seconds to get hot. And then I like to start in one place. And some people kind of go all over, but I think it's hard to see when it's heating. If you start in one place and it starts turning gold, you just follow that across. So let me give it just a minute. Okay. So I can just kind of start in my corner here. I don't know if I'm going to get up close. Hopefully you can see that. Let me see. I'm trying to watch my screen. It's not changing yet. Now it's starting to change just a little bit. And it's going from like a soft suede looking color to gold. And that's what you want. You want to see that shine all the way through. And then, so look at it, nothing dull. One more little kiss and turn your gun off. Because sometimes, again, we want to over emboss. And trust me, don't over emboss. It's not as pretty. So there I have the gold. It dries right away, which is so nice. And this is like a huge wow, I think, to anybody who's new to stamping or the kids. Oh my goodness. Years ago, I did a science fair. And of course, I was with Stampin' Up! And so it's like you needed to show, it was like a job science fair for the kids. So I went to the school and I embossed. And they absolutely loved it. They were so much fun. And again, it was just the magic of stamping. So with this, I'm going to come in here and take my die. Because again, that's something I had to do ahead of time. I'm going to put it in here. Now, when you're cutting a die, you want the number 1 base plate. You want the number 2 die cutting edge, because you need a little bit of thickness there. And then you need the number 3 2 clear embossing plates. So all this does come together as the die cutting machine to get you started. Then I'm going to put it on here. I did not grab a Post-it note, but let me just grab one of the ones with the measurements. And what I'm going to do is I'll just line this up. Okay. I like to put a Post-it note to hold it and hope nothing shifts going through. If it does, y'all know I have a backup. I'm going to crank this through. Those little noises, don't let it scare you. They are fine. And then when I pull this out, I have a really pretty, I'll see that. Sure beats cutting, doesn't it? All right, give me 1 minute to put my die back in the case, because if not, there's nothing more scary looking for a die or a little stamp. So let me just tuck those away. So on this one, I am going to go ahead and color it with my blends. But what I found, if you were to use, say, our Stampin' Right markers, they are water-based ink. So you could color this no problem, but just know that the water-based ink does not dry on non-porous surfaces. So you would want to take, say, a paper towel and dab it off, because it's not going to dry on what's embossed. What I found in the blends, The blends are an alcohol marker. Let me make sure I got the right color, okay? The blends are an alcohol marker, so they will dry on non-porous surfaces. So when I started coloring this, I really wanted to try and stay just a little bit on the inside of the embossed piece because it would dry on there. And it was starting to dull the embossed image that I put on here. Now, it wasn't the end of the world, but if I'm going to go through the trouble to emboss something for that beautiful shiny gold, I want it to show. So I'm just going to come around. I'll do those leaves. I'm just going to kind of come in here. Again, trying to stay off the embossed part. Not, you didn't ruin the card if you don't. I just think it does make it just a little bit more shiny. Coming around. And this is Old Olive Light that I'm using to come in there. Then I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and I love Mossy Meadow anyways. So this is Mossy Meadow Light. And to get better control, y'all know there's a brush end and a thin end, but I'm using the thin. Otherwise I get kind of sloppy when I have to be more detailed. And with an alcohol marker, since it is alcohol, since it dries on non-porous surfaces, you want to keep these closed. Don't leave them open because alcohol will evaporate on you and these will dry up quickly. That's why your caps are really nice and tight, and that's why you don't want to leave them open. You want them to last. You guys are quiet out there today. Let me see. So Edith is having a chilly morning in Florida. My goodness, it's chilly everywhere. But it's like I told Deanie, it is the end of November. Virginia, we typically get our coldest months in January, February. That's when we've had our best blizzards too, to be honest with you. So I'm going to come back here just with a little bit more light. And I find if I did, because I didn't want to take too much away, but if I go back over with the Old Olive Light again, it really just kind of just lightly shades that one side. You barely see it. And then last but not least, light cherry cobbler. Coming around, just getting those insides. Now I find when I'm coloring a lot of times too, if you don't color like we did in kindergarten, and sometimes there's a little white space or something, it looks more natural than if we, had to stay in the lines and color the complete thing in kindergarten. I guess that's one of the things that you don't have to still follow. Our age gave us a rite of passage to do what we want. Okay, so see, quick, easy. So I'm going to take this on my card here. And again, this is the first time I'm making it. I'm just going by hers. But she has a hole in the center here. And then I think we can cheat down here. So for the hole, I'm going to take... All right, give me a second to find it, y'all. Talk amongst yourselves. It was in the chair next to me. I'm going to take this because I'm going to take my pick a tool, which is one of the best tools ever. So many different things you can do on the end, but I'm going to use my paper piercer. And I'm going to pierce a hole right here because I need a place for my gold trim to go through. So I'm going to take my gold trim right here. And to me, it's just easier to tape the back. Scotch tape is a wonderful thing. So I'm just going to take this, put it through the hole. And incidentally, I am using, this is great. This is called Simply Elegant Trim. So it comes in silver and it comes in gold. And it's great, especially when you're doing holiday cards. So I'm just going to stick this through and tape it on the back. Don't want that piece. It's It's all crinkled up. Okay. So I'll just take this, tape it on the back. And then when I'm kind of putting it on here to see how long I want it, I'll come up here and I'll say, yeah, that looks good. If I need to trim it, I will. So when I put this on here, let me see. I'm going to go at the top, just like that, but I want to put it on with some dimensionals. So just to let y'all know, if you've ordered from me in the past, I will be selecting the catalogs for tomorrow to be mailed out, and you should have your new mini catalog, the January through April, by mid to late December. And you know, just about the time you think you got your wish list taken care of, along comes another one. And if you haven't ordered from me in the past, I would love for you to do so. You can go to my creatingwithcolleen.com blog, and if your order is less than $150, please use the November host code. It's good for 2 more days, and then I'm going to run a little special in December. It's a beautiful kit that you can get free. I'll tell you more about that another time, though. Join me next week. I think I want to cut these 2 off so they don't hang off the top. It only hurts for a second, y'all. You know how that goes. Okay. So if I put this here, put it like that. Okay. I have that. And then I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to find my little ornament, my musical ornament. Put a little tape on here. So I want to try to think that might be pretty good right there. So since I have that there, yeah, that's good. I'm going to trim this, but just to make sure that that stays really well, that's where I'm going to put my dimensional. So I'm going to put one right on there, anchors it really nice, and then I'll put another one here. Let me see. All right, so I'll just pull that down. That is my music note right there, my little ornament. And then I tried to be smart. I tied a little bow ahead of time because, you know, it's always harder for some reason to tie when your camera is watching you. I don't know what's up with that, but it just does. I'm going to pick me up a glue dot, put it right here. I can even fold it over if I want. And then, oops, I want the pretty side. Put that right there. And that is the card. Simple, simple. Very simple. For the inside, let's do something. We have to do something there. For the inside, I'm going to take this and I'm going to use, this was one of my favorites too. Now, this is in the annual catalog, so it's not going anywhere, but if you don't have it, you'll want to get it before it does. This is called Brightest Glow. Beautiful words in here for Christmas. I don't think I've ever gotten rid of one of my stamp sets with Christmas words. For some reason, I just have to keep them. And then here, what's really nice with the Brightest Glow are these dies. And so it actually cuts out all these little circles. And you can see samples where you put like a sheet of the gold underneath this, and the gold comes through all the circles. Beautiful, beautiful set right here. So I'm going to use, let's do a little cherry cobbler. Okay, and this is wishing you a season of hope and light. You can wish that all the time. So I have that there. Then I'm going to come in and I am going to use the piece that we had. Actually, am I? No, here's a smaller one. So again, this is from the Joy of Noel. So this is what we used on the front. We're going to use this in the inside. And I am going to take this, put a little bit of this. How do I want to do this? That'll be good. Got that piece there. Now I didn't want to take the time to color this. So you can take these little blending pens here, blender pens, and these are great because it's just like a clear glycerin. And since this is a water-based ink, y'all remember it's classic ink, I can pull a little bit of the color in. And I'm not having to pick up ink. It's soft. I'm just going to come through. It's fun, fun, fun. So I'll just put a little bit of this. And I'll hold this up in a minute so you can see it. But you can move this ink around. Even though it's dry to touch, you can definitely move it around. Let me make sure I got all my leaves. Ooh, I like that. To clean it, just take a piece of paper. Don't do this because you're going to kill your tips. I won't be able to sleep if you start doing that. Let me put a little bit of color here. So if you do, just don't tell me so I can still sleep. And then here, you're just going to get your sides and it's clean to go to the next one. And then just real quick, put a little bit of the berries. And this is where I would say don't worry about coloring it all the way in. You want it to look just a little bit sketchy, in a good way, of course. And right around. And this will add so much to the inside. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So with this, I can just put it on the inside, and by golly, I think we'll have a finished card. Always make sure you're putting it on the right side. Wouldn't it be great? I've done it before. You put it like this, and that's your card. You're like, oh man, that stinks. So if you ever do, say for example, I put this in here, especially with a tape, you can get it to work with a liquid glue, but it's much, much tougher. But if I did that, the trick to getting this up without destroying it is to take a piece of dental floss. Honest to God, y'all. Take a piece of dental floss, hook it underneath the edge here. Sometimes it takes a friend to hold your card, but when you pull it through, it breaks all the tape underneath. And then you can lift this up, and trust me, I have saved many a piece of designer paper, many an inside. It works well. So let's put a little Winkastella, Winkawa right here. Okay. And our card is done. So again, Bonnie, thank you for sharing this card with me. I absolutely loved it. And let me get over here and check some of my comments. I've been so engrossed in my card. Let me see. So let's see. Renee just got her new catalog last week. So many nice things. Me too, Renee. We're both demonstrators. So we get our products the month before because we get to pre-order on December 4th. How cool is that? Actually, I think December 5th. So Bren will have to case this one. You're working on next year's cards now. Bren, I might have to hire you. I tell you, Bren is our avid stamper. She posts so many beautiful things to our team Facebook page. I just love you. I love all my team. So yes, I got the catalog too, and it's so much better seeing it in person than on a PDF. So don't worry, Gwen, if you're just starting this year's cards, as far as I'm concerned, you have plenty of time. Bran wants to know the size of this circle. Do I have a ruler in front of me? Here we go. Of course I do. Previous drafter, of course I do. Bran, this is a smaller one, and this is about a 1 1/4 inch circle. And again, I use the stylish shape. So you have all different ones to choose from. You can make it a bigger ornament. You can make it any size that you want. Let me see. Wow, Bren did over 60 cards this year. Very good. Yep, so you two need to get together and stamp and have fun. Thank you, Kathy. I thought it was beautiful too. Can't take the credit. Some things I try to change. Some things don't need changing at all. So anyways, can y'all believe next time we see each other, it will be December? And as I said, I'm going to do a little ordering incentive in December. I'll tell you all about it in my newsletter. If you don't already get my newsletter, please go to creatingwithcolleen.com and request it. This is not my idea. Man, I've been casing a lot lately. I'll get original eventually, y'all. Just time's been short. Again, a beautiful project that I just didn't want to change. This is from Madeline, I'm going to say your name wrong, Mrotzek. Madeline Mrotzek. That's how I'm saying it. She is on the Stampin' Up! Artisan Design team. And she posted pictures of this. She didn't have directions or anything from what I could see, but I can follow a picture, y'all. And again, look for the newsletter in December. I'll tell you how you can get one of these for free. But it is a mini trifold album. Actually, quadruple album. Let's just call it a little mini table album. So you can put pictures here. You can actually put more sayings about Christmas. And then that's the opposite side. So stay tuned. I had a lot of fun making these. I even had to get my husband cranking on the other die cutting machine. It was a two-man job, but it was so well worth it. So anyways, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm going to Costco, and if I was smart, I would eat before I go, because what happens is you go hungry, you buy all the things you're not supposed to buy, and when you taste, Costco's smart, y'all, when you taste the stuff on the aisle, it's like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I have to have it. And then you get home and it's okay. You know, it's something about being on that aisle that it just tastes so much better than when you get it home. And also, as our financial guy was saying, you got to have stock in Costco. He said, Costco is brilliant. He said, it's the only store that you walk in to buy a $4.99 chicken and you walk out with a kayak, $300 kayak. Go figure. So anyways, thankfully kayaks aren't in season, but I'll let you know how I make out. Hope you all have a blessed day, a fantastic rest of the week, and I will see you. Let's check my calendar. Oh my goodness, what is... I will see you on December 6th, if not before. You all take care now, and thanks for being here with me. I always enjoy being in the stamp room with you. Bye-bye.